start again. It's a redskin.
Got the 1.5-inch hole saw, so I can finally, after months and months and months, cut the hole in the firewall to run that engine harness through. And then I bought the drum sander so I can file off the edges. This came in the mail today. It has this plastic cover. I didn't realize it was coming all the way from overseas, but it looks pretty good. It's a power distribution block, and I didn't realize that I got so many ports. There is 4 ports here that are fused, and then there's actually 4 more ports right here in this area that are not fused. So definitely was going to help out. Has this cool little plastic cover, and I haven't tried it on yet to see if it's gonna I didn't realize it was this big either, so I gotta put it on that panel that I made and see. This here little grommet that I found, it says it's a PCV valve grommet, but I think it's big enough to use to run the power wires from the alternator and the starter into the cabin. I got these fuel injection hose clamps to see if they're big enough to clamp the hoses that are going, the coolant hoses actually. I didn't want to use the worm drive type clamps, so I got these guys instead. Just going through some stuff on my channel, and I just made a new video, and kind of responding to some comments, I guess, that just came in this morning. Number one, yes, I do realize that I say a lot. I'm trying to get a little bit better at not saying it, like I just did now. But a lot of times I'll just go ahead and edit out if I say it way too much. A lot of the older videos, I wasn't into editing a lot, and I would just put whatever I recorded, even if it was a mistake. But I got, let's see, a comment. Somebody noticed it, and they, let's see, didn't like it all too much, I guess. But number one, if you are disrespectful in the comment section, and on my channel, you're blocked. So it's easy as that. When I respond or make a comment on somebody else's video, I'm try to be very respectful. I don't make fun. I don't use any sort of foul language, negativity, nothing like that, because everybody's working hard on their channels to make content. And guys that have no content at all with 4 or 5 subscribers want to troll everybody's channel. Like I say, if there's any negativity in my comment section, I will block you. So, but yeah, I'm trying to get a little bit better at it, and sometimes I have to search for the words. I was in a car accident when I was 19 years old, and it sheared off the top of my head, and I'll spare you the looking at it. But over the years, certain things have become apparent. I can't think as clearly when it comes to certain words. I can't remember certain words, and I have to think really hard about what I'm doing or saying. So, like I say, bear with me. A lot of times I try and just kind of go through things, and I try and edit it out, but I do say it a lot, and I do realize that, and I'm trying to kind of stop from saying it. So, but enjoy the video, guys, and I'm about to upload it right now. And hopefully they're big enough to do the 2 coolant lines going to the ACV valve. Got the little plugs for that one port that's for the vacuum on the intake manifold, and then I got some hose to run. God, that looks kind of small. Hopefully it stretches enough, but yeah, this is for the fuel regulator. Today I did edit a video with the headlights and the fuel pump, and I didn't include the powering on of the fan, because I did actually hook it up, and I was like, I wonder if it's actually going to work. So I plugged it in. Of course it's not going to work because it has to get up to temperature for that thermal switch to actually activate the fans. So what I did was I just got a jumper wire and jumped the thermal switch, and they both turned on. So I wired those correctly. Yeah, that was nerve-wracking. Let's see the hole right underneath the fuel filter. So that's done. All right, so I run the harness. Zoom in too much. Through that hole that I just cut. By the way, that hole is a 1.5 inch hole saw. Just in case you guys buy a harness like this. It does come with the grommet, but nowhere in the description or instructions does it say what size of hole you need to drill for that. So 1.5 inch is the size that you need for that grommet. That was the one thing that was kind of really scaring me about what I needed to do. Because after all, I spent, I don't know how many hours smoothing out this back firewall. Not to mention the days that it took to install the firewall. So yeah, that's finally in. Let me turn on the there we go. Now that I am looking at this, there's actually a hole right there already that I had plugged up to run the power wire. I don't have to drill another hole. Yeah, cool. Hey guys, it's been a couple of days since I've recorded anything as far as running, you know, that harness and stuff like that. It's, like I said, it's been a couple of days. Yesterday I kind of took the day off. In the past couple of days I've been doing nothing but custom orders, and so I finished those, finished the two that I needed to do today. I had to finish these two guys. Somebody had bought this coffee table, and it was shipped from overseas, and the wood is really hard. It's kind of like a rosewood, looks like, and it used to be the length, the two pieces I just cut in half, and it was so heavy. It's like a bunch of end cuts basically that they kind of glued together and then put screws, pocket screws, to hold it all together. Well, it kind of sagged. I might have a picture and I'll post it. But it was like, it just was like a boat in the middle. So she asked me if I could make something out of it, and I said, yeah, you know, what do you need? And so we kind of went back and forth, and so she decided on an end table and an ottoman. So the ottoman, you can store stuff inside, and the wood is really dense and really heavy, so I kind of put this little friction thing right there in the corner there, so it doesn't, you know, just fall and smash your fingers. So yeah, but yeah, it's done. I just called her, and hopefully she comes in. But kind of want to start just moving forward and getting this wiring done. And so I brought this in today, took it off the car. This is the brake switch, and I found off the harness the plug that goes for it. Kind of measured out the wiring that I need to connect it, because I already have this stuff here. I already loomed the actual harness that goes from the back to the front of the car. And so this wiring here, I'm going to see if I can get this really thin stuff over it, and that way it looks a little nicer. Yep, there it is. I might be getting a little bit better at doing these things. I came back, hooked up the harness that I had made earlier today, hooked it up to the main, actually put in that power distribution block, and then made a complete mess in here, drilling out the holes to put the rev nuts to mount the power distribution block. And so it's all hooked up. I had to make a couple of lines for the main power line going to that power distribution block, and then another line coming out from there down to the cutoff switch, which is going to go to the PDM right here on this end. Power's not hooked up right now, but I did connect the brake switch, and it works, but promptly the bulbs started burning out, so, so they were loose inside the sockets anyway, so I had to get new ones, so I'll pick those up tomorrow. Found a couple of wires that I actually don't need. Now I think what I'm going to have to actually do is, I believe, let's see, I think it was this green, I believe it was the green and yellow wire that's right here, that was the brake light. And I'm going to have to cut this and then hook it on to this wire right here, which is hooked up in turn to the switch. But it works. I ordered these hose, or I ordered a hose. I thought I ordered a hose to connect the coolant lines that go to the idle air control valve. And instead of sending me 2 feet, they, you know, one single length, they send me 2 individual 1 foot lengths. That was the dumbest thing I have ever seen in my life. I'm hoping that at least, I know I already have one that's long enough that'll reach there, but let's see. Oh, yes, it works. So I have another one, because I'm not sure this one will actually work. God, these things are just filthy and disgusting. Well, let's see. So this one goes in there, and then yeah, it's not going to be long enough. Good thing I got that other line. So yeah, that was kind of a waste of money. I was hoping just to get a 2 foot length, cut enough, you know, of one to make enough to hook up to one side, and then of course hook up to the other side. But I'm not sure why they just sent me 2 individual 1 foot pieces. Usually when you order stuff like that, and you're paying for individual items, if you buy 6 of them, they send you 6 feet, but not the case with this company. So I just got back from the P.O. box, and this stuff finally came in, but I had ordered 3 different sizes, the 6, the 8, and the 10 millimeter. And it looks like the 6 millimeter is not in there. I really only needed the 6 millimeter for the small wires like that were running to the fan and stuff like that. So I might just go ahead and just do the black loom on those ones. And then this stuff here, which is the 10 millimeter, use this. I'm going to use this for the power wires that run to the alternator and the starter. Also picked up another set of lights for the rear tail lights. These things are unbelievably expensive. These are the LED type replacement bulbs instead of the glass, housing that usually come on there. And this is like about, I don't know, about almost $40–50 worth of lights just for that. And so that I can put these on finally, and then see about hooking up the brake lights and stuff like that. Picked up these guys from a company, and this is the same little fuse box holder relay box for the fans that I have that I got from the Chase Bay's website. And so I ordered these so I could make my own relay and fuse panel or boxes for the taillights. Now, I'm not sure if I'm going to actually be able to use them because the relays are actually larger than the mini type relays. I'm going to have to see if they work because I want to run this. And of course, there's actually in the fuse distribution block that I'm not sure why I didn't know that, but when I ordered it, it actually has 4 outputs that are fused that I can use for, instead of running a fuse on this, run a fuse through there, and then to a relay in this box, and then out to the taillights. So, got this one done. This is the starter side. It goes right there. And of course, this is the alternator. Meets up at this point right here. Starter goes, alternator goes bolted on right here. And then goes through that hole down at the bottom. And this grommet that I have on there hopefully plugs it up. After hooking up all of the wiring and combing through wiring diagrams, trying to find out which wires go to what, finally hooked up everything that's on here, and I was assuming that you have to have some sort of a power supply to the ECU. I traced a bunch of wires that I saw on the wiring harness for the engine. And the one that's, according to the one that has the power, or supposed to go to the ECU, I couldn't trace it anywhere. So I'm assuming that it's somewhere, I don't know, connected to a power source in the engine. I don't know. I did hook this up and the switch, so that works, and pump works. Ignition, tried it. Well, press the ignition. Could hear something clicking inside the engine compartment, but nothing turned over. Thought maybe the battery was weak. Checked the battery was fine, and took off the starter and kind of connected the power directly to it, and it didn't do anything. So I'm assuming the starter is bad. You know, so I pulled it off. I'm going to head into town, see if they have another one. Most likely they don't, because we live in this small little podunk town where they never have anything. It's like even the mini relays or micro relays that I needed to make a panel to do the turn signals, they didn't have anything like that at all. But like I say, I'm probably going to have to order it, which means today is Saturday, so that means they probably won't get it in until Tuesday. So, yeah, I guess I'm going into town, and what I'll probably end up doing is have them test this one, and see if this one's bad. Next morning, went last night to auto parts store called AutoZone. Of course, they didn't have, like I said, nobody had the starter to begin with. But they do have a machine you put the starter in, and it can test it for you. According to them, it's good. So I don't know if I believe them, though, because the guy that actually tested it had to have 2 of the other employees come help him show him how to use the machine. And but I could hear it spinning when they tested it, or the motor spinning. So according to them, it's good. So I came back, hooked it on. So I got power. This is what happens. So you could hear the solenoid clicking. Now, a lot of times, usually when that happens, it means that the battery's dead, or there's not enough juice in the battery to turn the motor. I hooked up the battery charger, which actually has a gauge on there that tells you where the battery is at as far as how much juice is in it. It was at 100, so it was fully charged. I was like, all right, well, maybe I can jump it. See, the motor turns, but it's turning really weak. I'm going to try something else. I'm going to go ahead and make another wire. I'm thinking maybe this one isn't thick enough gauge. I have this thick, I think it's, what is this? 2 gauge wire, and see if maybe that one will give enough juice to that motor to turn. Now I did check the ratings for the battery itself to see if there was enough cranking amps to turn, and according to everything I've read on that particular battery, there should be enough power to turn, to give enough juice to that motor to turn the flywheel. So I'm going to go ahead and disconnect all this stuff again. Alright, so made the new wire out of the number 2 gauge wire, which is, I mean, I think it's overkill, but it's still doing the same thing. Because right now, when I jump it, nothing happens. But if I turn the crank just a little bit, you'll hear it click. See? Did you hear that click? Now, when I try it again, the motor turns. So like I say, I'm assuming the starter is bad, even though they said it was good. I ordered the starter online, so again, have to wait another week for it to come in. Yeah, you know, it's to be expected, even though it is frustrating. You know, other things that I did was I finally put some hose clamps on these guys. Originally I had bought these ones to cover up, that way I wouldn't have these hose clamps like this. I really don't like the way that looks. But the clamps that came with it are so flimsy and are really low grade metal or material because they strip right away when you tighten them. Now I thought maybe, well, if I buy these nice carbon steel clamps, I can put them in here, but these are too wide. I mean, I can grind these down, this little, so it'll fit inside here. Yeah, I'm doing this kind of early this morning, just trying to see what my next move is, and it, you know, I can't really do anything until I get that starter in. Thought maybe if everything went right, that I could actually start it, you know, or try at least do a first start by the end of the month. But it, you know, the way things are going right now, I'm thinking that's not going to happen. So, you know, unless something turns around, changes, and things start going right, yeah, that's not going to happen at all. So I guess I'll stick to my plan of next summer getting this thing running, and just kind of take my time. You know, I don't want to rush through it. I'm at the final stages right now, and I just don't want to rush it and screw things up. So I'm gonna go ahead and clean up the inside, vacuum it. I might even pull it out. I did pull my trailer up to the front, which was a pain in the ass, and load it up, wash it, and that way I have enough room to hook up that light that I had bought. I still haven't put it up yet because I had to put a ladder, and I was afraid I was going to drop something on here. But you can see that just sitting in here, all the dust just kind of lands on here and just makes a mess out of everything. So I'm going to clean up a little bit in here, vacuum it, pull it out, wash it. Alright, here I am standing in my empty little workspace. Got the light up. So I got both lights on. And I went ahead and put these straps back here because it got windy as usual here again. And it started actually to tear out some of those Velcro straps that hold this thing on. So I put a couple of these straps to kind of hold it in place. And I loaded this up. Again, kind of a pain in the ass because it's so low. I had to use all these boards to get it on there. And I literally have a headache from doing all this. Maybe I should eat some lunch. I started off early about 7 o'clock this morning, working on the car, trying to diagnose that starter problem and stuff like that, and it's already noon. Seriously thinking about taking that 45-minute drive down and to Harbor Freight and pick up a winch to mount on the front of this trailer, because I have to use this thing and it's just a real pain in the butt. You can see that I really need to wash the car because it's just filthy, and I might do that right before I leave if I decide to go. I did vacuum the inside, so it looks nice in there. And but yeah, I pretty much set out what I wanted to do today, except, you know, just finish washing the car. Well, as you can plainly see and hear, the wind hasn't subsided at all. So it's already like almost 3 o'clock, and that headache I had this morning has now turned into a full-blown migraine. And I don't want to really do anything. I haven't even washed the car. So yeah, kind of sucks, but I guess I'm just gonna take it easy for the rest of the day. Yeah, hopefully it's quieter here, but yeah, my head is just pounding, and the sunlight is really hurting my eyes. So yeah, I guess I'm just gonna go inside and just take it easy for the rest of the day. Yesterday sucked. I had a headache from like 10 o'clock till about 10 o'clock at night. And nothing I did would just make it go away. And it was an actual migraine where the light would just hurt your eyes. And but I did finally come out, and I just forced myself to come outside and do it. But I came outside about 4:30, I guess, and the wind had stopped a little bit, and so I ended up washing the car. So I pulled out the hose and soap, and I soaped it all down and took off all the dead bugs, bird poop, all that crap that was on there. And then even managed to get the engine bay done. So yeah, it looks 100 times better without all the dust and stuff everywhere. Yeah, way better than it did yesterday. And then even fixing all those little chips and stuff like that I had on the firewall and all that made it look way better as well. I still got to fix this one here and give this one a little bit more attention. But yeah, other than that, it came out really nice. I decided to put it on these boards just to give it a little bit more support. As you can see right here, this board has kind of dipped down. This is only 1/2 inch plywood, which I'm surprised has held up this long. Like I said in the previous video, I eventually want to change all this stuff out or put another layer on top of 3/4 inch just to give it some more stability. It was actually really stable when I first built it. I put my side-by-side on it and four-wheeler, and there was no movement at all. But after a couple of years of snow and rain hitting on these things, it just kind of weakened the base. But yeah, and for some reason the car dropped down a little bit more. I couldn't even get the jack underneath. So I had to figure out a way to lift it. But yeah, it's back in the little shop, and I got to put away all this other crap. You can see how cold it got last night. You could tell we had winter last month, then it warmed up, and now it's getting cold again. I think it got down to like 28 last night. Which is normal for this time of year, but in the afternoon it's like 80 some degrees. You know, so because the soap that I used last night to wash the car froze.